Welcome back to Dungeon Master's Corner. Today, we will continue our theme of nightmares with a villain so terrifying, she scared people in real life. Welcome to another episode of the Dungeon Master's Corner. I am Brian.
And I'm Nicole.
And today, we are going to tell you a very special story about some very special NPCs.
But which NPCs are we talking about, Brian?
So, this is from my first campaign, where I created two very different NPCs. The first one, my party made a very unbalanced party. Very unbalanced party. I think there was 2 rangers originally, a bard rogue, a wizard, and God, I think we had a fighter, but a dex-based fighter. No one could tank. There was no tank. There was no real healer. It was rough. So I decided, since they were like level 2, level 3, I would give them a DNPC, first mistake, that could help tank some damage, could soak some damage for them.
Yeah.
I gave them, I believe he was a full-blooded orc. He was a fighter, but I didn't want him to be overpowered and difficult to deal with and have them rely on him too much. So I crippled him. I gave him 1 arm. He had lost his left arm. He went by the name Derek One Arm. And Derek was this very gruff, very quiet, very kind of matter-of-fact orc. Couldn't use a shield, couldn't use 2-handed weapons. There's actually a moment where they were in dire straits and he would use a crossbow and have someone else hand him another crossbow instead of him reloading it. And they decided that Derek One Arm needed to become a god. They wanted to immortalize him as a god. I said, no. They ignored me. But, yeah, go figure. Your players ignore you on something. I actually had to eventually give Derek levels in Paladin for the Raven Queen. So he would be like, nope, I can't become a god because my goddess would be very unhappy if her only follower disappeared and removed her power. So they were not happy with me for that. But I also had to get rid of Derek in different ways. When it was story appropriate, and I didn't want to have too much control over a situation. I didn't want Derek in there. So Derek got captured. Now, in order for them to kind of be able to do things with this character out of the way, I had him kidnapped.
But who could capture a big, burly orc?
A bunch of these strange monks that were able to use their own blood as weapons against the party. Now, this is before the Blood Hunter was a thing, so it was really cool to me. It was really out of left field, and no, I did not create it. We will link the thing that I got it from in the description, if I'm ever able to find it again, because I do not know where that particular binder went. It's around here somewhere.
We shall find it.
It shall be found. The Hufflepuff is on it. So my party fights through these blood elementals, these monks, these cultists, and they are really having a rough time with things. And they come across a clearing underground in this grotto. There's a light crack in the ceiling above, so light's pouring through, enough to kind of see. It's like a spotlight right on a tree. Now, the tree has been stripped of all of its branches. It's like a wooden pole. And shackled to that tree, his 1 arm shackled and a nail driven through the chain deep into the tree, is Derek One Arm. At the top of the tree, crouched, her arms wrapped around a stave, her head bent low, and long, kind of ratty, dirty brown hair covering her face, was this lone figure. They kind of thought she was a female at first. It was hard to tell because her ears were pointing through and she was a wood elf, so a little androgynous in the body, and she was dirty, grimy, dressed in almost rags, so no one could really get a bead on who she was or what she was. So our dex-based fighter mentioned her earlier. She began to sneak through. She rolled a stealth, and she rolled a natural 20. So she's feeling cocky. She's getting closer. She was like, I go right up to where Derek is. I'm like, you get to about here. About 30 feet away from the tree. Her player character's like, I rolled a nat 20. I looked at him and I nodded. I'm like, oh, I know. You get to about here. And at that point, the head turns slightly sideways as if she's listening. And then she turns her head so the hair spills away. And you look in her eyes, or rather, where her eyes would have been. Nothing but empty sockets stare back at you. And down her cheeks, as if tears, are rivers of blood. And she smiles broadly at you. Now, he was sitting there going, nope, we're getting out of this. And the character, she just starts walking back. And I go, her empty sockets turn and follow you as you walk.
She knows where you are.
Yeah, he's like, she can see me perfectly, can't she? I'm like, blind sight. Yeah. She leapt from the tree. A solid 40-foot leap. Slammed into the ground and just started wailing on the fighter. Others ran in to help. She used her blood as a whip to take them out at range. She was dodging attacks. She was deflecting the rangers' arrows. She was a monk. And she was a special monk. She wasn't the kind of monk any of them had ever heard of before. She had access to blood magic. She had powerful magical items. She was kicking their asses. Obviously, they got out of that fight. They learned her name was Tonelia. And Tonelia was a character I had been working on for a while. I wanted to give them a villain that meant something. I mean, you're fighting dragons, you're fighting this, you're fighting that. In a dragon fight, either you win or you don't. I like recurring villains. Villains that you'll hate them. You'll love to hate them. But this one actually was a success story that I didn't even expect. The fighter's player came back the next week. And he looked at me and he's like, I hate Tonelia. And I'm like, I kind of got that feeling. He goes, no. She gave me nightmares. I woke up my wife from when I had a nightmare and woke up from it. And I felt a little bad. I'll be honest, felt a little bad. But that is one of the best compliments I've ever gotten as a DM. Your villain was so terrifying, I had a nightmare.
I remember hearing about her before I was in that campaign with you guys, and getting requested artwork to make this horrifying woman.
I think Matt actually requested that artwork because that was his Discord
profile
thing for
forever.
Someone yelled at him to get rid of that, I think.
Because she was that disturbing.
Why do you have the scary ass picture as your profile picture?
I should actually try to remaster that now that I have more skills.
Yeah, you have definitely improved. Ooh, just completely redraw her as more terrifying and send it to Matt and have him wake up to that image. He doesn't edit these, we edit these. Fuck that. We can do what we want. He'll never know.
He'll never know until it shows up.
Until it's too late.
Is there anything else you learned from your horrifying woman?
Oh no, I feel like I peaked at Tanelia. As far as villains are concerned, I think I peaked at Tanelia. I don't think I've given anyone a nightmare since then, so I think that means I need to up my game. And actually, I have something in the works right now that might top Tanelia.
I am terrified but intrigued.
You should be. She's from the Wednesday game. You'll get to meet her soon.
Oh, good. This is fine.
But
We're fine.
It's fine. Anyway, thank you for joining us for another episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. I have been Brian.
I've been Nicole.
And please enjoy this outro so lovingly crafted for you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. If you'd like to support us, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/reliablychaotic to help with my legal fees. How was I supposed to know Tanelia was considered psychological torture? You can also drop us a line on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic. We'd love to hear from you.